In the mid-1970s, the United States was gripped by fear. Across several states, young women were disappearing without a trace. There were few clues, no clear suspect, and no one imagined that the man responsible looked like someone you might trust. His name was Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was born in 1946 and raised believing the woman he thought was his sister was actually his mother. His early life was filled with confusion about his identity. But on the outside, he appeared to grow into a normal young man. He was intelligent, charismatic, and well-spoken. He studied psychology in college and later became involved in politics and volunteer work. To those around him, Bundy appeared ambitious and promising. Few suspected that beneath the surface was a deeply disturbed mind. In the early 1970s, young women began disappearing in Washington state. Many of them were college students with similar appearances, long dark hair parted in the middle. Witnesses occasionally reported seeing a polite man with his arm in a sling asking for help loading something into his car. The man would introduce himself as Ted. What seemed like random disappearances slowly revealed a horrifying pattern. Investigators realized that the same man might be responsible for multiple abductions. But the killer was careful, leaving very little evidence behind. In 1974, the crimes became more frequent and more brazen. Two women vanished in broad daylight from a crowded park near Seattle. Witnesses again reported a charming young man named Ted approaching women and asking for help. This small detail would eventually become one of the first clues that connected the cases. As authorities began searching for suspects, a surprising name surfaced. Several people close to Bundy had noticed strange behavior and even reported him to the police. His girlfriend at the time contacted investigators after seeing a sketch of the suspect that looked eerily similar to him. Despite these warnings, the evidence wasn't strong enough to arrest him. Meanwhile, the disappearances spread beyond Washington. Women began vanishing in Oregon, Utah, and Colorado. The killer was clearly moving across state lines, making the investigation even more difficult. In 1975, Bundy was finally stopped by police in Utah after officers noticed suspicious items in his car, including handcuffs and a crowbar. Though he initially denied any wrongdoing, investigators slowly began connecting him to several murders. He was arrested and eventually charged with kidnapping. But Bundy was not finished shocking the world. While awaiting trial in Colorado, he managed to escape from custody twice. In one daring escape, he jumped from a courthouse window while acting as his own lawyer during a legal proceeding. He was eventually captured, but months later he escaped again, this time disappearing completely. For weeks, authorities had no idea where he had gone. Bundy had traveled across the country to Florida. There, his crimes took an even darker turn. In January 1978, he broke into a university sorority house late at night and attacked several young women inside. The brutal assault shocked the entire nation and intensified the search for the mysterious killer. Just weeks later, Bundy was finally arrested again after being stopped by police in Florida for driving a stolen vehicle. This time, investigators had enough evidence to build a powerful case against him. The trial that followed became one of the most widely watched criminal trials in American history. Bundy's intelligence and strange confidence drew enormous media attention. He often acted as his own lawyer and seemed to enjoy the spotlight, sometimes smiling and joking in court despite the horrific accusations against him. But the evidence was overwhelming. Witness testimony, forensic analysis, and surviving victims all pointed to Bundy as the killer. In 1979, he was convicted and sentenced to death. Years later, as his execution date approached, Bundy finally began confessing to some of his crimes. Investigators believe the true number of victims may never be known. Many cases remain unsolved, and Bundy himself gave conflicting statements about how many people he had killed. In January 1989, after years of appeals, Ted Bundy was executed. The story of Ted Bundy remains one of the most disturbing criminal cases in modern history, not only because of the violence of his crimes, but because of how ordinary he appeared. He was not the monster people expected. He was charming, educated, and trusted by many. And that is what made him so dangerous. The rise and fall of Ted Bundy became a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying threats are the ones hiding in plain sight. Like, share, and subscribe for more.